Hello people, how's it going? Your boy Manti XD right here. Man, this intro is getting old, but I don't have anything better than this. So, your boy Manti XD in the house, and today I bring you the champion. The champion for the Gwent Open of February. Vishra. How you doing, Vishra?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good, good. Look, I'm telling you, I'm a sucker. I'm a complete sucker for spicy decks. And this looks super spicy. I have a lot of questions. First of all, why the Witchers over the Crones?
So the original version of the deck ran Crones. Ran a couple other things that are different from the current build that I'm running, but basically it boiled down to I wanted to try to make it as lean as what a dwarf deck is. And dwarves traditionally will just stack the front row and ignore every other row. So I had a few games, mainly against Skellige, where I went to be able to rain the back row, and it kind of affects how you use your Crones in a lot of ways. And then at one point I also added Old Spear Tip, and part of what makes him really cool is the interactions you can have with him, both buffing your row, and then the next round also buffing your row if you can save him. So it kind of makes you want to play the front row between that and Soul and Animal Tamer. So I wound up cutting the Crones and putting in the 3 Witchers, and so far they've pretty much pulled the weight in every game.
That's pretty interesting. Talking about Sultan and Tamer, is there any replacement? Because I'm pretty sure this is gonna be like a staple.
I don't really think, not if you want to run this list. If you don't have it, I think it's better to run the list that Gum Gum ran over the weekend for the Invitational, which he won with it. It's a bit more of a control list. This list is all in. It's very much an aggressive, in your face, I'm going to fill the board more than you and put out more power, and I'm not going to interact with you at all. The only interaction we run is Dagon, and we run one first light for the weather matchup. That's it. So if you don't have Zolan, you don't have Yennefer, I'd probably recommend looking at the control build, and it has a little bit more flexibility. There's a lot more replacement options there. But the Igo list, I feel, is pretty much stuck with running Zolan and Yennefer.
That's fantastic. And with the new changes of Katakan, I believe that Katakan is also like really perfect for this deck since he's on the melee and just the consumption himself.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's probably one of the top 3 silvers in the game right now for any faction. The card is insane. It should be in every monsters deck that you make right now. It either makes you a gigantic creature, or it carries over things. It has a lot of value in the Skellige matchup for hitting their graveyard. It hits the graveyard of Northern Realms a lot. It hits the Monster Mirror a lot. There's just a ton of things you can do with the card, and I've been a fan of it ever since the buff with the Nilfgaard patch.
Yeah, that's actually really impressive. Like overall, I'm just watching the archetype of this deck, and I'm very happy to see something like this, something fresh and new spawn. This is like brand new, so I usually have a question that have you ever seen anybody do a mistake like this? Here, I'm gonna twist the question. Have you ever make a mistake and learn from this?
One of the big things you have to learn right away is when you can actually play or consume monsters. Like sometimes you can go ahead and the ordering is very important, kind of like dwarves is. So sometimes you want to be able to monster nest before you consume. Sometimes you want to actually, it's better for you to hold it. That's generally where the biggest issue with this deck comes from, and where the timing windows are, is that you need to make sure you order your cards correctly. But outside of that, there's not a really big deal. Otherwise, the biggest issue is figuring out what you want to carry over with your monster passive. So you want to be able to time out and plan out your turns accordingly, so that what you finish on for the round is what you carry over.
As far as mulligan aspects, what would be the mulligan aspect?
Generally, since you play Witchers and you run that triple silver non-blacklist, which is what Crones share, it's what Dwarfs share with the Witcher package. Basically, whenever you have those, since they can't blacklist each other and they can come back the other 2 that you have, you want to skip your 3rd mulligan if you haven't already blacklisted one of the 2 Witchers not in your hand. So say that you start with 1 Witcher and you mulligan twice, you don't see one of the other 2 Witchers. You can't really do the 3rd one because drawing the 3rd one's that bad for you. You generally want to be looking for a Necker, or a Monster Nest, a Necker, at least 1 Necker Warrior, and then a combination of any of the golds, another First Light, another Necker Warrior, things of that nature. But you generally need 1 of each of those to have a really solid hand.
Now, with the new changes of the weather, is that what brings the leader Dagon overall?
He's just the most flexible, and I know that I saw someone earlier try it with Aridin. I haven't tried it with Gels. I don't think Gels is very good for a multitude of reasons in this deck, but Dagon gives you a lot of flexibility with both putting down weather in certain matchups. Sometimes it's actually good for you to play in Dwarves with a full board, because then you just buff it up with Consume triggers, Old Spear Tip, things like that. The deck actually plays a lot like Dwarves in that aspect, where instead of having to care about weather, you can just buff right through it. K-Ran is great in that aspect because it's basically a hawker healer to all of your neckers in that case. But Dagon just offers you a lot of flexibility between weathering or first lighting your board if you need to in a sticky situation, or rallying to just thin your deck a bit and get you something that you're missing.
As a champion, is there any shoutouts that you would like to give?
The Gwenelman team has been really, really welcoming, I think. I'm kind of a newer player to the game. I only started about a month ago, and ever since then, it's been a really good community once I've gotten into it. Shoutouts to Gum Gum, who helped refine the list and actually won the next week with it at the Invitational, and just everyone on the Discord chat who helps just look through the list, kind of pick them apart, and figure out where the weaknesses are with it.
Awesome. So there it is. And guys, we're going to take the McDonald's Drive-Thru Deck to the ladder. Let's check it out.